I am pumped and excited because I just got done texting a source of mine and he told me some very, very exciting news about some information about the new Ram street trucks. And not just really any Ram street truck, we're talking the 392 Hemi V8 powered trucks that me and TK's Garage had talked about, about a few months ago. And what if I told you that I was told a time frame of exactly when we will see the 392 Hemi V8 Ram trucks? And I'll discuss as well, could we see a Hellcat-powered one? And we'll talk about that right now.
Last year, Ram killed the Hemi V8, and people had opinions. The same people that killed the Hemi sent me out here with these comments. That's not happening.
Okay, more than 51,000 friends, and I believe the 56% of you guys who are watching these videos but haven't hit the subscribe button. The Ram street truck has been something that TK's Garage and myself have been talking about for months now. Ain't nobody's been talking about this happening but me and him, and hopefully we're going to see this actual rumor pay off pretty soon. And this is something that we've heard from a variety of sources that Ram was considering doing this, and that this was something that people, especially customers, have been wanting to be done for a very long time. But for some odd reason, Ram would never do so. They always put it in the HD trucks, but they would never put it in the actual Ram 1500, even though you have a competitor like Chevy and the Silverado that's a 6.2 in some of their basically Silverado 1500s. And they got the smaller, I think it was a 5.3 in their vehicle as well too. But for some reason, Ram would never kind of match Chevy and put a 6.4 to 392 inside of a Ram 1500 for some odd reason. Now I heard it was because of the tow numbers would be lower, but I guess some people wouldn't necessarily care if they had lower tow numbers for more horsepower stuff, because you can apply that same concept to the Ram TRX. It has 700 horsepower, but cannot tow as much as a Ram 1500 with a 5.3 Hemi in there, right? So I'm just saying, not everybody wants a pickup truck for towing, just like not everybody who wants a TRX who was forced to buy one like me. Oh, not my TRX key. This is my TRX key. I mean, I love my TRX stuff, but I would prefer to have it in the actual street version because I never took my TRX off-road because I never had a desire to take it off-road. I just wanted a 700 horsepower truck. But a source told TK's Garage, and I'm gonna give you guys like a variety of sources that were talking to us in the background stuff. But one source told TK's Garage, then another one said something to me about Ram street trucks with 392 Hemi in it a few months ago. And then another person said something on TK's Garage where a Ram truck was suspiciously moved out of the plant at nighttime, I guess when the plant was on shutdown, whatever. And from what he was saying to us was that it looked like it had like 24-inch wheels on there, and it had a different tone to the actual exhaust when they heard it running. And you can check this video right here where I kind of break down that actual vehicle. But they said the truck sounded like it had like a Hellcat engine inside of it, which is very interesting stuff because I've talked about in other videos that Ram is putting Hellcat V8s inside of RHO mules to kind of disguise that those are really TRXs and stuff to kind of throw people off. But you know, if somebody hears a RHO badge vehicle run down the street, they can easily tell what's a Hurricane and what's a Hellcat. So I'm just saying. But TK's Garage and myself have been talking to multiple sources from a variety of levels, and they all been saying the same thing, that Ram's been thinking about putting bigger Hemi V8s in the Ram 1500, from the 392 Hemi to the actual Hellcat version in non-off-road versions. TK have his board of directors, sources and stuff, and we've been talking to people all the way from that level all the way down to the UAW, and a 392 Ram 1500 is definitely going to happen. But I just want to say one thing, that one of my main gripes with these automakers, especially like Ram and Ford, is that they won't make these factory street trucks anymore with high horsepower. And instead they cop out with making only off-road high horsepower vehicles. And because, like, you know, I would love to see a day and age where these street trucks make a comeback and stuff, where the Ford Lightning was basically like the Fast and Furious version, the red version with a single cab, and you basically had a supercharger in there, and you basically have a high horsepower street version of a Lightning. You have a high horsepower version of the TRX for the street and stuff that you can bring back as like a you know, as like a what was it, SRT 10, or maybe bring back as SRT 8. And Chevy never really made kind of like a very good SS Silverado, but hopefully they will do the same thing and make a version of the Silverado with a supercharger on it and stuff. But I wish these manufacturers will go back to a day and age where these popular street trucks will actually make a comeback, because I think they would be very popular now, especially with Ford basically having the sleeper package where you can go and buy like a F-150 XL, like the real like basic budget version, throw a supercharger kit in there, and for less than 50 grand, you can have like a 700 horsepower F-150 and stuff. And you know, I just hate that they're all going to this business model of where they're going to make pretty much all the high horsepower versions of their trucks being off-road models so they can charge more for them and basically make them unattainable to the masses. And I think this is the reason why, is that because the government is going to give them a heck of a lot of fines for basically very bad fuel economy vehicles. So why not go and put these suckers in off-road versions, jack the price up on them so there's less sales, which will mean that, which will mean that there are actually less government fines they got to pay, and the vehicle costs so much extra money and stuff that they can just pay that fine off with the sale of that vehicle and stuff, right? So, I mean, I would love to see, you know, some of our most favorite engines inside of some of our most favorite vehicles and stuff, now that there is no more cafe and car fines. Because we kind of got robbed from seeing those type of vehicles and stuff before the current administration got in there, right? Because 1,000 horsepower red eye, kind of dusty in here. Because I would love to see something like that, right? 1,000 horsepower red eye Challenger and Charger, just like they did when the 2018 Demon came out, and then the next year they had red eye powered Challengers and Chargers and stuff. So I'm just saying. But at that last video where I talked about the Ram street trucks, like right here, the video right here, we were only waiting to hear back from our sources that Ram was going to basically make a final decision to put the 392 and the Hellcat engine in non-off-road trucks, and which models that they were going to do that in. So that's the only thing we were just really waiting to hear back from. We knew from multiple people and people from CTC and all that stuff that this was going to happen. We just didn't know what trim was going to happen in, which is why I explained in my last video that they were talking about putting 392 in like the limited and the tungsten trims only, which I also argued they should consider bringing it down to like a Laramie, for example, and probably like a Rebel and stuff, to make budget 392 or Hellcat Ram 1500 builds, since there are zero emission fines, and especially for the, like, I think it's what, the next 4 years at least, based off this current administration and stuff. But my source had told me that a Stellantis representative, another source, this is something totally different from the ones I've been talking to originally, but this is a source that's been very, very, let's just say, accurate when he tells me things. He said a Stellantis representative basically spilt the beans and said that Ram has decided to go forward with a 6.4 Hemi in the Ram 1500. Now, the only thing I don't know is exactly which trims the 392 is going to be in, but I do know exactly when you can expect to see these new 392 Ram trucks. And man, I'm telling you, I just love my sources because they give me some great information and stuff. But he did tell me you should expect the 392 powered Ram 1500 in the first half of 2026. So in less than about, what, 4 or 5 months, we should see availability for a 392 Ram truck sometime in the first half of 2026. I know the time frame that he told me, but I'm just gonna be generic and stuff just in case they trying to, like, you know, leak like bad information out and stuff. But he did say first half of 2026. Now that is the target availability of this truck. Like, you never know, it might change, it might get shorter, might get pushed, whatever. But you know, just like how, you know, me and TK's Garage, we've leaked that Q1 2026 was like pretty much the first time you're gonna see a Ram TRX run down assembly line and be available to customers stuff. And we leaked that in a document like right here. And the beautiful thing about this is that the TRX has not been officially announced by Ram yet, even though we know for a fact that from our leaks that, yeah, the TRX is coming and stuff. You had Antonio Filoso, the CEO of Stellantis, saying that the TRX is returning and stuff. So that basically means to me is that I'm thinking that when the TRX gets announced, we could have a surprise announcement as well that the 392 is also coming to the Ram 1500. Just like how, like, at Roadkill Nights, no one really saw the actual return of the 392 Durango coming back in the whole Hemi lineup and stuff until they actually dropped that bombshell on us. It kind of kept everything kind of close to the vest. But I think we might see the same thing from Ram, where we hear that, you know, the 392 as well as TRX is coming to the Ram 1500 lineup stuff. And I would love to hear a scenario where the TRX also gets a 392 treatment and stuff, perhaps as a TRX 392 or Ram TR as it was hinted before the TRX came out in 2021, or maybe a TRX RT or an RHO 392, or maybe an RHO RT, kind of like how they introduced the Durango RT to be a 392 for this year. So I would love to see a situation where you have a budget off-road truck, especially like a budget 392 truck around that $50-$60 range for people who don't necessarily want to have a Hellcat-powered TRX, or let's just say a Hurricane-powered RHO and stuff. Give those customers an option to have a 392 in that off-road body and stuff, which I think will be a very good sweet spot, like my dear friend Tim Nisses has said, with the actual Durango 392 being a sweet spot in the Durango lineup and stuff, right?
You're gonna sell the hell out of the 392 Durangos, though. I think that's gonna be
It's a sweet spot, isn't it?
It's so great. Absolutely. I'm talking my wife into getting rid of the Defender.
Oh, nice.
I want her to have that.
That's a big win
That's
right there.
right in the middle, man. It's perfect.
That was like the one thing I saw everybody most excited about, the 392 coming back. I think that Tim Knisson should give people the freedom of choice. And right now, the 392 Hemi and the Hellcat engine is basically banned from CARB states. So about 40% of the country has to deal with only getting the Hurricane powered RHOs and basically only 5.7 powered vehicle stuff. But us in the rest of these federal states, we don't have such issues and stuff. We don't have such restrictions, and we should enjoy all the blessings that Mopar Jesus will bring us in the form of Hemis. Now 392s and 6.2 liter supercharged Hemi V8s. Man, I just love those engines, boy. But too bad for you guys at CARB states, you can't enjoy the fun. Now I know someone's gonna ask me, when are we gonna get an announcement on the actual TRX or the 392 Hemis coming from Ram? Will it be announced at some kind of auto show? Will it be announced at Siemens and stuff? We already know it won't be announced at Speed Week because that was like a couple months ago, and that was basically like a Dodge event and stuff. But let's just say that a source told me some very, like, I like it when sometimes sources give me like kind of cryptic information and stuff. That way it won't come back on them. That way someone won't be like, hey, look, we're leaking this, we're leaking that, and we find out who gave us leaked information and stuff. But someone basically gave me a hint that Halloween may be very, very good this year. So, which is right around the time of this video is probably like, what, 6 weeks away from now. So we just had just a little bit of time to sit back and wait and see what happens. But I think Halloween, we may get a very, very good announcement stuff. So I'm just saying, and hopefully we see them drop pricing like Dodge did across the board to be very competitive against people who are basically gonna be cross-shopping Ram to other brands and stuff, right? Because Dodge basically shocked everybody by dropping prices of Durango and Charger and stuff across the board. For somebody, for example, if you're cross-shopping a Charger and a Mustang and stuff, the prices of a Charger is about 10 grand cheaper than a Ford Mustang. I hope that Ram does the exact same thing and makes the TRX and these street trucks a lot cheaper and stuff. I believe the cheapest 6.2 liter V8 engine from Chevy is around 60 grand, and I think you can get it in the RST version or whatever. I'll put it right here on the screen too. And I hope that Ram does the equivalent Ram 1500 about maybe like 5-10 grand cheaper and stuff, because the 392 is around 485 horsepower and stuff. So I think that'd be a great way for Ram to basically go and actually make a Ram 392 1500 have less price but higher horsepower and stuff to kind of bring people from Chevy back down to Ram and stuff. But let me know what you guys think. Should Ram make a 392 street truck or just put the 392 as an option on basically every trim, the Laramie and higher and stuff, giving customers the ultimate choice of basically picking what engine they want to have? I mean, Chevy basically does the exact same thing, giving customers up to 6 engine choices in one trim level. 6 engine choices right here on the screen right here. So hopefully Ram will do the same thing and do that to the Ram 1500, because Chevy has already done surpassed Ram in being the second best selling pickup truck brand in America, with GMC right on the heels of Ram. So I think Ram, in order to basically retake second place, they need to be bold, they need to be dramatic and stuff, and they need to offer people more freedom of choice and at a very good price and stuff. So like I said, should Ram do something like the same thing and give everything basically what the Laramie and higher, and even maybe even a Hellcat power truck in the Laramie and higher stuff, to give customers the ultimate ability to pick what they want and stuff? Could you imagine like a Hellcat power Laramie around about maybe 50-60 grand or whatever, and you basically don't got to go through this whole thing of buying a budget truck and basically put a supercharger at the end, It already comes from the factory and stuff, and at already a great price and stuff. I mean, I would love to see one about 60 grand, like I said, with a factory supercharged option on there. But like I said, let me know what you guys think. And if you want to check out the Hellcat street truck mule that I spotted leaving the Ram plant, you can check out this video right here. And until the next time, I am out.